Hello friends, in the last lecture we studied regarding different types of queue, that is linear queue, circular queue, double-ended queue and multiple queue. So only we define what are the different types of queue and we studied regarding the linear queue. Now in the today's lecture we start with the concept of with the new type of queue, that is a circular queue. But before start with the circular queue, here first of all we are discussing some drawbacks of linear queue. So we start with this. Now here we just have the understanding of what is queue, as we already studied what is stack in data structure. This is the another part of storing a data inside the memory. As we are using different data structures to store the data in a memory, because here the aim of data structure is specifically first of all that we have to store the data into the memory. For that we have using different data structure. In the previous chapter we discussed what is a stack and how stack is useful to store the data inside the data structure or inside the memory. Now what is the thing that we have to perform inside to store the data is that we are creating one element, and for that element we are creating a variable. With the help of that variable, we are storing the data inside the memory. Now, if we want to store the large amount of data means we want to store the 100 record of the students which are sitting in a one class, suppose, consider. So in that case, specifically we are not creating a different variable and storing the data of a different student, and again we come back and again we take a second student and so on up to 100. For that we are using one technique of a C programming language, that is creation of a array. And meanwhile we are storing the data one by one inside the memory by using the concept of linear array. So in the similar manner, in a data structure subject also, if we want to store the data inside a memory, we are using a different technique. The first technique that we already studied, that is stack, and the second one is the queue. So now we concentrate on what is the definition of a queue. So a queue is first in, first out data structure in which the element that is inserted first, the element that is inserted first means the element which is come inside the, consider the array, that element to be taken out first. Now to elaborate this concept, if we are considering any queue, suppose we are considering the example of a bank. In a bank, to deposit the money, the queue is there, and we are also sitting or we are also standing in a queue to deposit some money. And if we are stood first in a queue, so it is our chance to deposit our money first and take out from that particular queue. So same function, same example, same technique is to be followed inside the queue also. The element which is first inserted is to be taken out first. Now in the case of a stack, what is the pattern we are using? That is a LIFO. LIFO is nothing but what? It is the last in, first out. In that case, whatever the element which is inserted at the last, that is to be taken out first. So in the data structure, sometimes this type of a technique is also useful in some type of programming. In what manner, that we will be seen in later chapters. Now here we want to consider what is the type of a queue. So here what is, whatever the element that is first inserted is to be taken out first. The element in a queue are added at one end, it's called the rear end, and the removed from other end is called front end. Now to explain this also, we take a same example of a bank, that we are or you are sitting and standing in a queue. As your work is complete, you are deleted from that queue, or you itself taken out from that particular queue. So you are taken out or you are deleted from that queue from the front end, and some new person is coming to that queue that is coming from the rear end. So from front that we have to delete the data, and from the rear end we have to insert the data. Okay, just remember that. If from the front we have to delete the data, and from rear we have to insert the data. This is the principle of a queue that we have to follow. The two main principle here that we have to understand, the first is what is FIFO, that is first in first out principle, and second is what is from where the element is deleted and from where the element is inserted. So from the front the element is deleted, and from the rear end the element is, what we can say, from the front the element is deleted, and from the rear the element is inserted. So this is all about the definition of queue.